I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item on the agenda is we've got a bid opening. This is for snow removal services at the, along the sidewalks on Route 9 and up here around Martin H. Glenn building. We've got one bid for this, submitted by Bob Bull Excavating, okay, and it's, they charge, they do it for snow, they charge $132 an hour, and the salt is 45 cents per pound applied to the sidewalk, so that's the only bid we got. Okay, moving along, we need a motion to amend the agenda under new business. I need the item K, item JK, contract with the rescue squad. I'll make a motion to amend the agenda accordingly.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody got a chance to look at the minutes from October 7th and October 15th. Is there a motion on that?
Make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We don't have to pay and don't have any budget transfers. We don't have any vendors claims. We met late. We paid, these are the bills that we paid last time here, so that's not really relevant. Okay, motion to accept and direct all correspondence. The clerk tells me we had none. Okay, and then we've got, public presentations. Tom Barber and Peter Boujno regarding use of volunteer park property by the YMCA. Go ahead.
Hello, hello board, thank you for the opportunity. Recently, there was discussion, public discussion about a recreational facility, and there was a desire by a number of community individuals, residents in town, that they were interested in pursuing that recreational facility again. A little bit different this time than what was proposed back in 2000, I believe 1998, 99, 2000, where it was a different type of facility. It was going to be run by the town. So part of the discussion we had was the potential to have the YMCA come to Kinderhook and site at a location, perhaps the town property on State Farm Road, whereby the town, if the agreement would allow perhaps an acre or so be carved off of the agreement or the town property on State Farm Road, and allow the YMCA to come in, build a facility, manage the facility, staff the facility for a long-term lease opportunity, perhaps X dollars, $1, $10, $100 a year for a period of time, whereby they would manage the entire facility. We would just allow them to build on the property. It's all contingent upon the agreement with the state of New York in the transfer of property, whether it would allow such an opportunity, a sublease, or whatever it might be called. So the first step in this was first to hear the idea. The second was to contact the YMCA. There is no YMCA between here on this side of the river and Kingston. And what we understand, the demographics of the YMCA in East Greenbush is the closest one to Kinderhook. Many individuals from the town of Kinderhook go to that facility. Perhaps 25%, we heard upwards of 25%. So the first opportunity was to reach out to them, see if they were interested in locating 20 miles south, because there is nothing between here and Kingston. And they were interested. Tom Barber met with them on 2 different occasions, and they were interested. The director was interested. So I think we have the interest of the YMCA. The question is whether we can create such an arrangement whereby the town would be willing to offer the Y some property to build, to manage, staff, and that we would gain the advantages of all that. The big concern that we heard in the different forums that we were involved in was people were looking for aquatic recreation. They wanted a swimming pool where some of the elderly could utilize the facility so it's not as intensive on their joints, and that the therapy of the aquatic therapy would be more conducive to their interest. Other than that, we do have some recreational facilities. We have the gym in town, but primarily the discussion centered around having aquatic relationships for the residents, indoor. And again, it would be managed by them. It's a proposal, it's something to consider. Tom Barber and I wanted to take the lead on it and explore the possibility. And I guess it's all contingent upon what the arrangement, whether the town of Kinder could do such an arrangement on that property. Tom, do you have anything to add with the discussion?
Well, that's one contingency. I met with Shannon, who's the executive director of the East Greenbush Y, who I happen to know because I go up to the East Greenbush Y. And I presented the opportunity, the question about doing something in Columbia County. The East Greenbush Y is busting at its seams. They either have to double the size of their pool by adding a second pool, add another gym onto that facility, and it would make more sense, almost in their opinion, in my opinion, of why don't you take the pressure off of your Y and put one down here where a good amount of your membership is coming from, and draw from all the local communities, eastern, western, northern Columbia County. They could only build a Y if they could do a capital campaign. They do not have the finances to do it. That is flat out on the table. But they would run the capital campaign through whatever mechanisms they normally do in order to generate funds to build a building. They're looking at something that might be 4 to 5 lane wide pool, lanes wide, a gym, and an exercise facility. Not a monstrous facility, but it would certainly provide something for this community that we don't even come close to having at this stage. She took my discussion to the executive board. The executive board liked the idea. Before I even got my cup of coffee and sat down, she came back over and grabbed me again, and she said, I went on the internet and looked up volunteer parks. She said, what a great idea, what a great site. So they weren't letting any grass grow under their feet at that moment. Met with her a second time. She met with her executive committee. Again, executive committee expressed interest and would like, if the town is willing to move forward with this, to come down and do a presentation to the board.
I think the demographics prove out that it's a worthwhile opportunity for the Y, because many of the individuals that attend the East Greenbush location come from here. And I think the risk in this scenario, in this proposal, is limited because the town isn't engaged in the management of it or hiring of it or anything of it, except for allowing the facility to be built on town property. Everything else will be managed, maintained, all the insurances, all the benefits, all the employees will be managed by the YMCA in this proposal. And so there really isn't really a lot of risk here. And if by any chance we could put some language in the document that says, should the YMCA be unable to maintain the facility, that it would revert to the town of Kinderhook, and then we would have to deal with those issues that I just mentioned that are not an issue today. So the proposal is pretty much a no-risk situation, other than allowing the property and the building to be built on the property, but the whole question relies on whether the agreement that we have, the transfer of property, I guess it all hangs on Andy to research that again. But you know, that's our proposal. It sounds interesting. I think it works. I think it's a limited risk for the town, and I think it's a great benefit for the community.
Did you wanna say anything to that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, the property is burdened by letters patent. We would need to make application. I think if the town was gonna do that, my recommendation would be, because we have asked them at various points in the past, and we certainly are not precluded from going back to them in the future, and the way the letters patent are written is that they do, kind of dictate usage, where it's outside of recreational opportunity, so I wouldn't say that, I think it's probably in keeping with that use, but what I would recommend is if we were gonna write to the state, it would be beneficial not only to the town, but obviously to the YMCA, if we had some sort of concrete proposal somewhat on the table, so that when we were writing, we can say, look, we've been in discussions with the YMCA, this is what they're envisioning, to try to move that process along, because we've had some delays in other scenarios, and I think the more we could give the state when we make that request, in terms of detail and feasibility, the better it would be.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how far the Y wants to go into the planning, renderings, anything of that nature, until they know how much interest we have as a town
Right.
to have the Y.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think we would need, renderings, but just a clear expression of intent, so that we could say, look, this is where we're headed.
So you think we should put that together, proceed with that document?
I mean, I think if they were gonna come down and speak with the town board, that would be a wise thing to do. And then from there, we could kind of work with them to, basically get a package together, so that when we made a request to the state, we had materials to provide them.
I do have one question. Now, you said that they would only need 1 acre for this?
No, I'm just
I don't
saying,
think
we don't know
I
that.
was
I'm
gonna
just
say, cause
saying,
that sounds very small.
I'm just saying we
parking.
carve out, they need space for a building. We don't know what they might need, but I'm just suggesting it might be an acre or two. It
Well, you
won't
need
be,
parking.
it won't be, we may be able to use parking that's already there, some of those things, because there's space there. There's facilities there, so it'll just work
Yeah.
with those facilities. But we can get to that point. I don't think it's going to be many acres, it's just enough for a building. It's primarily for the aquatic uses, for the pool and the indoor gym piece. That would be of interest mostly to the community from what we're hearing.
I
But we
think-
can develop the site in any way we need to as we move forward.
I wanted to ask, cause we, previously had talked with the Trails Committee about the use of land up at the top of the hill that we acquired last year. I think something like this would be a great idea for that location. We just still have to look at the topology map for that. We're waiting to get that from the Trail Committee.
Why not use the 2 buildings that they're not being used?
I don't think the Y would
The
touch
Y
those
would not
things.
do this.
Well,
No, those buildings would have to come down if that's where the Y
Yeah.
goes.
Would you guys be open to, Pat, you're on that committee, right, for those buildings?
Yeah.
Would you guys would consider have the Y, take the cost of tearing those buildings down and putting in building up?
Why would take the course?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't assume, I wouldn't
I
assume
I mean,
that.
make that part of the
Great
capital plan.
Now Diane's got a whole different spin on us now.
That's
We
a
don't
great
know
idea
that.
though.
Huh?
That's a great idea.
But here's what I
If
was
they take
thinking.
down the buildings, yeah, what,
I don't know if they're going there. I don't know if we didn't propose that.
But they do know the buildings are there and that they're dilapidated and that could be a potential site.
What I was envisioning was where that barn is in the front might be a better
The highway
location for
use.
this.
Barn?
Yeah, the highway uses that barn, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
they do?
Yeah.
Well, in that front area, but we're not that far along yet. We're just bringing the proposal. We wanted to see if we had consensus of the board to proceed with getting the next step, and as Andy suggests, maybe a more hard proposal comes together, and we would be happy to pursue that if we have consensus, but we don't wanna pursue it unless we have some support.
Why do you think it's a good idea? I'm sure.
What about water?
Here too.
There's water there,
Get the
Water
tower
tower?
there.
there's
Yeah.
water there, yeah.
You can make that part of contingency of
There's water that feeds those buildings right now, right? We know that, right? So there's plenty of water there. And we know in perpetuity that water has to feed those buildings up front for OPWDD, we know that. But there is water there that feeds those 2 buildings, we know the lines are there. And there's water to the dog park also. But we're not there yet. I mean, we're not even close to that yet. We just looking for consensus so we can proceed. Whether you feel it's a good idea for us to pursue it and then come together, get a harder proposal, have them come here and do a presentation. But we were thinking that we needed approval first before we proceed, but Andy's got a better idea, so we'll go that way, and I think we can make that happen. Location, siting, we don't know any of that yet, we haven't gotten to that part, we just wanna move this to a point where there's agreement, consensus, so that we can proceed.
Okay, so anybody opposed to asking YMCA to come down and talk
No,
to the
then they
board?
should come down and
Yeah.
talk to us. Have they even seen the site?
Yes, they have.
Been
And-
down there
and from
physically?
aerial,
No,
not-
I'm
not in
talking about
person,
they've
but
been down.
Online through, maps.
Oh.
So, okay then, follow that, then see when they can come down, you know?
Great, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you, it's exciting, I think it's exciting.
yes, thank you. Any other, no, that's the only public presentation I have, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Sure, public comments, does anybody have any public comments?
I'm on the agenda, so I'll wait for them.
Okay, I'm gonna move along, not to cut anybody out. New business, you can see there, we've got 6 applications to use the building here. It is, we can approve these all together. Does anybody have any problem with this or anything?
I have no problem with them. I talked with Kimmy over them. I don't
You wanna make a
see
motion on that?
I'll make a motion, we accept the applications, Ken.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
So carried. Okay, resolution, the B, and I think
Can
it's.
I do my committee? report?
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over you
That's
here.
okay.
It must be my glasses
It's
here.
your
I mean,
Yes, yes, I know. Well, I wanted just to bring to light that the KISS program through the county will be here from the 2nd to the 13th, over here on the Glacier side. I went to the Community Coalition meeting, and they're looking into, okay, the school and law enforcement, we had a discussion about, red flag law, and we're meeting with the district attorney's office, we lined that up for them, and they're doing presentation on the red flag law. There's a woman that's doing it, it's wonderful.
When will that be?
They're doing it with the superintendent, and then they're going on with the school on that, so.
Yep.
The new road is open, ribbon cutting ceremony was there, and their new bus road is open, and I experienced it today, and it's different. You have to hurry up and get those kids out of that primary school, so you don't get hit by a bus and the kids run, like, but that's okay. The staff, I spoke extensively with the department heads, and the staff is trained with suicide warning signs. We had a discussion about that, and they have social workers in both buildings now, and it is a big forum that they did twice already, and it's been very effective. With the HIPAA law, you can't explain it all, but it has worked, and the social workers are very busy in both the schools on doing it. And then they also reported on the new construction will be starting in June of 2020, so be prepared. There's more on that coming, as soon as they have their board meetings. So,
Did you have anything else?
that's it,
I'm sorry to skip over you there.
that's okay.
Okay, moving back to B, resolution, the clerk has, apparently the state of New York has given us the authority to waive the marriage license fee for active duty members of the military, is that right?
Yep.
So we need to pass a resolution if we wanna do that.
I make that motion, we pass that resolution.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Leader, second by Hogan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. We got one bid for snow removal, $132 an hour, plus the salt at $45 a pound. I'll make a motion, we accept the bid of Bob Bowl Excavating to do that work.
How much was that a pound again?
45 cents.
45 cents a pound, applied, that includes application.
And that's just for the sidewalk.
Yes, that's all they do the sidewalks around here, you know. Okay, okay, we can vote on that?
Who's second that, I missed that.
Make a motion.
Pete Pat made the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next thing is Andy, maybe you can explain what
We
this,
heard from the New York State DOT, and in connection with just putting together their road inventory, they asked us to do a resolution relative to all the improvements that have been done on Wildflower Road. So that's what we prepared and Kim has circulated, and it's just so that we ensure going forward for CHIPS money and all those things that it's included in.
is there a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
There's
Second it.
motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, we've got some housekeeping items. We need to renew our agreement with Columbia Green Humane Society. That's where they take the dog. If On the rare occasions that our animal control officer can't locate the owner, and they are extremely rare, the dog goes to the shelter. I think in 10 years, I can recall paying one bill. It goes to the shelter. I emphasize the dog goes to the shelter. We paid one bill once. The people generally, when they pick up their dog, end up paying the fees to them. So it's much the same. It's $35 an hour, much the same as it's always been. Okay, so I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Honor an America's Heroes, becoming a Purple Heart community. Madam Clerk?
This came down from Daphne Jordan, and there's been quite a few Saratoga County towns that have adopted this, and they just want it share an exciting. I write today, share an exciting opportunity for your community to help honor our American heroes by becoming a Purple Heart community and continue displaying the patriotism and pride that our state communities have for men and women of our armed forces. And it just says, by enacting a local resolution to become a Purple Heart community, will help further honor the courage and commitment of Purple Heart recipients.
Does somebody want to make a motion on that?
Make that motion.
It's a motion by Leader. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Bickerton. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay, Mayor, you're next on the agenda.
In case you have not noticed, your room's changed around a little bit. Okay, we would like to extend this here, out to here, to right here, our back room. We're running out of space. We had 6 employees there in 2 days a week, and we don't have any space in the back room. One room's not even heated. The one storage room here that we have the building code inspectors sitting in. So we like to, so what we did was, is put this room like this and see if you guys, if it could be workable, having the meeting room like this, set up like this. With it, you're missing 20 chairs, but they weren't in here before. But we can put 20 chairs in here and see what it looks like with a full set of chairs.
I think it's fine, cause you'll probably, once that's in, you'll have a little bit of space over here. And once the table's gone, you'll have more space over here. It just
What about the
makes-
heating system that we have?
The heating system will not change. The only thing will change is this, and then Ron Knox quoted me $400 to $600, which we will pay for. To have that move from there to this wall here.
Okay.
So it'll come here with this room. And then we will have one radiator which will help keep that back space back in our office there. And the other radiator, you'll have one outlet that way, and we'll have the other one's going in that back room.
They're breaking that wall out.
Yeah, it was a wall that was put in by Phil in the first place, I believe. We moved here.
I've already forgotten what was there before.
It was
that
part of
in-
the library.
Was that into
That was all part of the library.
the library? It was dented in, remember?
Yeah.
We used to have the extra books in, I think it was the kitty corner.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
But, so we're looking to do that, but we just thought we'd make this like this for 2 months to see if we have any problems, any people, any organizations like the planning board, zoning board, anybody has a problem with this. If they do, then they have to come back to us and we'll have to see if we can resolve the issue.
Okay. We'll try it for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we'll see if we get overflowing capacity.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's on, yeah, I don't know about board, but everything else. I don't know.
Do you want me to
But-
bring up, I'm gonna have the rug shampooed in, December 6th. This rug shampooed here and downstairs.
Mhm.
So when we get done shampooing, I'll have crews bring up the other chairs and put them in here and see how it looks like with all the chairs in here. And see what that looks any worse. And if what about that desk there? Would you like me to just get rid of that desk?
Is there any?
That came from you guys anyhow.
Pardon me?
Didn't that come from yours, or was that the library?
The library had it here.
Yeah,
Take it away.
don't need it.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Pat?
Yeah.
If somebody who could use it, you know.
Here in the short stay rate here.
Anything goes now, right?
Well, don't say that.
Well, I think that, we might give it the highway garage, if we have use for it.
The what?
The highway
Use
garage,
it,
Good idea.
use the new office.
or if anybody else wants it.
It's a good idea to offer to them.
Yeah.
Or put it in your new office.
Yeah. You don't have to ask if they want that desk, to tell you the truth. It's bigger than what they got now. It's got.
When you're done with construction, there's some pictures that Pat and I came about, of all the
Former
former
supervisors, yeah.
supervisors that we had up in the old town building that we would like to put up.
Put right on the wall.
And when you're, finish, I think, construction and everything, I gotta take a picture of Pat too and stuff, so, and, God, who's the one that we came across?
Well, Bud Conkle in 1951, 52, when he was a trooper.
On a motorcycle.
Yes,
Yeah, so we had him in the other building, you know, up in Niverville, so we'd like to put him down here, I'll clean them up and everything, and display him down here on the wall too. So I think it'd be nice to see,
yes,
so.
yes, okay. I guess we'll try it out for size. All right, moving along, we need to approve and renewing our agreement with Columbia County for real property service for assessment. As I told everybody in the budget workshops, it went up from $7 a parcel to $10 a parcel in review of the reval that they're gonna do for us next year. So it was like an $11,000 increase in services, but it's well worth it. So does somebody wanna make a motion on that?
Make that motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, as most people know, we've been, or as I mentioned again in the budget process, the town received an offer from Greene County Bank to become our official depository, and one of the components of that offer, in addition to his additional interest, was that they would collect our taxes at no charge. So instead of paying $1 per parcel, which runs about $4,000 a year, they would collect it for at no charge at all, and we'd be getting about $6,400 more interest. So in view of things, that's kind of a windfall to get $10,000 out of this. So the first thing I'd like to ask the board, and we discussed this in the budget, is this motion to make Greene County Bank and Trust, Greene County Bank our official depository, and to authorize them to collect taxes on our behalf.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. There'll be a lot of lead time. I've talked to gentleman at the bank there, Don McCormick. There's a lot of paperwork to do and everything, so it's not gonna happen right away, but we need to get it done, because pretty soon, Madam Clerk will be stuffing the tax bills, you know? So,
Pretty soon,
We use them now, they're great.
yeah.
In fact, they're, like Pat said, our increase in interest is tenfold.
yes. Okay,
What to put in the pockets?
Yeah.
okay, the other thing is we need to reschedule our December town board meeting until December 16th. It's just so that we can maximize our bill paying capabilities, get another week of bills under our belt. And I also like to schedule a year-end meeting too, so maybe get your calendars out, if we can do that final week of December.
Not ready for December.
Can you do December 17th?
16th.
16th for the
16th
board.
is the board meeting.
Could you do the 17th?
Gotta be further closer to the end. Not to be a pain in the neck, but I wanna get as many bills paid in December so we can close it out.
You can't do the 16th,
I'll-
or?
I
Oh,
like to do
I'm
the
sorry, I
16th.
misunderstood you,
try
I
this?
thought you wanted to do the first meeting and then the second meeting, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
If everybody can do the 17th, I can do
Or
the 17th.
what, year end?
No,
No.
for our, no, I was confused the same way you are.
Sorry about that.
No, I understand, I was,
17th is crazy, yeah.
how about the 18th?
No good for me. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
I'm good.
is
I'll
that
go first meeting.
Is that the
Wednesday.
second or third
When
week
it-
in December?
Third.
Third, perfect, thank you. Who do I thank for telling me that?
Do December
Thank you.
18th?
What are
What?
we trying for now?
This is
We're
for our
actually
board
on the
meeting,
8th.
our regular December board meeting.
Is what now?
We're
You
up to
tell
the
me.
18th
No,
now.
it's okay.
Pardon?
18th, which is a Wednesday.
December 18th.
We don't have a meeting.
Yes, we do.
Did we have that, the
Yeah.
last, Santa Claus?
The last one, Santa Claus.
Yeah, they,
You want to do the
Right.
19th? I'm like an auctioneer here.
You know what, I can do the 16th, I'll just have to move something.
You sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
Yes,
I don't want to inconvenience you.
it's fine, I had Ethan some,
Done.
but I can move it.
Okay, all right, good enough then. So it's gonna be the 16th at 6:30 then. And then can we set the year-end meeting for the last week of the month?
that Monday the 30th, or is
That's
that?
perfect. 6:30. We can do our transfers then and adjustments and everything.
Okay.
Okay,
What day is that one?
Monday?
Monday.
Monday.
So we're gonna meet the 16th and the 30th, both Mondays. How does that sound to you? This is an exercise, this is,
Anybody away that week? End
this
of
is,
year?
this is kinda like a flow control, a flow chart, you know.
Are you away?
Mm,
Sally, you away?
Not that day, no.
Okay, so, oh, we're,
Yeah.
okay, I'll make
Yeah.
a motion, then we set our December regular monthly meeting of the Kinderhook Town Board for December 16th at 6:30, and set our regular, our year-end meeting for December 30th at 6:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we needed a second, I'm sorry, I was premature.
I'll second.
Tim will second it, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next thing is I've added on, this year we negotiated a contract with the rescue squad. And if anybody, people were here at the budget meeting, know what their circumstances are. So I would like to be able to enter into a contract with the Glacier Rescue Squad for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2024. It's a 5-year contract. And I've got it here, there's no surprises with this, it's, lists what we're gonna pay. So I'll make that motion, is there a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, public comments? Yes,
On the last item, is that gonna be the same amount each year, or you're gonna have to
Oh, no.
revisit it every year?
no, I'm sorry, I will tell you what that is. Next year, the town of Kinderhook will be paying, we in Stuyvesant, and Stockport kicks in a tiny little piece, again, kicks in a tiny little piece of it, but Kinderhook and Stuyvesant pay the lion's share of this. We split the total increase, which is gonna be $120,000 a year between the town of Kinderhook and the town of Stuyvesant. The town of Kinderhook pays about 81% of that, and the town of Stuyvesant pays 19%. That's based on assessed value. So our share in 2020 is gonna be $308,063.11. 2021, it's gonna be $405,949.26. 2022, it's $504.